Hi there guys, in this video we're talking about habit formation, or how you can integrate new habits such as English study into your lifestyle effectively and easily. We're going to look at a couple of the existing theories. I'm going to explain what a typical habit forming process might look like, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips that will help you to form good habits with your English learning. My name's Rob and I'm a full-time English teacher living in Barcelona, Spain. Here on My English Teacher Rob, we're all about helping you to become more fluent and confident in English so that you can enjoy a better life. Let's get stuck in. So my main goal, if I'm honest, was to just get up here today and record a new video for you guys, because habit formation is something that I've been struggling with a little bit myself in trying to get this channel up and running again. I'm not in the habit of getting 2 or 3 videos out on YouTube every single week. And this is very similar to the kind of struggle that you will go through as a language learner when you're trying to learn English. I had the same problem myself when I was studying French, Russian and Spanish. I was going to make a video about the 21-day rule, which I'd heard quite a while ago, which basically says that if you do anything, any new activity for 21 days consistently, then on the 22nd day, like something magic will happen, and suddenly, boom, it's like you'll just be able to, it will feel like less effort and you won't have to work so hard, right? Which sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But however, when I started reading up on this theory, I found that it's maybe not quite right. The idea that it takes 21 days to form a new habit came from a nose surgeon called Dr. Maltz, who observed that it took his patients 21 days to become accustomed to their new appearance after he performed nose surgery on them. He thought, hey, it takes me 21 days to form new habits as well, more or less. So he eventually published in one of his books the idea that it takes about 21 days or more to form a new habit. Because this book was such a massive bestseller, it got picked up on by a whole range of other authors, and the idea proliferated, which meant that it spread out and lots of other people started talking about it. But the idea became shortened to it takes 21 days to form a new habit, which isn't strictly correct. Another researcher, more recently then, called Philippa Lally in London, put this to the test, and she discovered with her team of researchers that it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days to make a new habit. But for the average person, it's going to take about 66 days. That's maybe a bit longer than you were hoping for, right? So I discovered this article on Forbes where they quote a famous business coach called Tom Bartow, who came up with this like 3-step process of what habit formation actually looks like. The first step in habit formation is described as being the honeymoon phase. A honeymoon is the holiday that a couple go on just after they've got married. Now, in this period, you feel like everything's new and exciting, and you just feel great because you've started doing something. When you're studying English, this would equate to making the decision that you're going to study English, and then going out and buying your textbooks, you register on the course, you find a new teacher, yes, I've started, I feel great. But this, after maybe the first couple of weeks, this transitions into stage 2. Stage 2 is described as the fight through. This is when that initial excitement has started to fade and you suddenly start to realise, I didn't realise how much work was involved. This is actually maybe a little bit more work than I was expecting. In the fight through stage, you're going to hit those initial struggles where you realise that it takes time and effort, and there's maybe more reading to do, there's more energy involved. There are going to be days when you don't feel like doing it. If through sheer force you manage to push through stage 2, then you make it through to stage 3, which is where all the good stuff happens. Stage 3 is described as second nature. In the second nature stage, you start to integrate this new habit into your daily routine, and it feels more natural. you start to experience some success and things start to feel a bit easier. Of course, the success stage comes with its problems as well. Barto mentions 3 things that could send you back into the second stage where you have to struggle again. The first one is called the discouragement monster, which I think we've probably all experienced at some time. This is where you start telling yourself negative things. If you're studying English, this would be like if you take the exam and you don't quite get the result that you want. Or it could be like if you have a bad lesson with your English teacher and you start thinking, no, you know, maybe this English thing isn't for me. The second thing is disruptions. Disruptions, well, these are things that are beyond your control. I've certainly had my fair share of those. This could be someone who, you know, maybe a family member falls ill and you have to take care of them, or you end up in hospital, or maybe you have to move home, or anything that is beyond your control, basically. The third thing that could get in the way of your success is described as seduction of success. Another way of saying this in English might be if you become cocky or big-headed. This means that you kind of get drunk on success. You feel like you achieved something very easily, so you don't have to work hard as everybody else. Say you take an English exam and you didn't study too hard and you still got the result you wanted. So when you next have an exam, you think, I don't have to study so hard because I'm naturally good at something, when it might have just been actually luck. So what are we going to do with all this information? The first thing you need to consider is that you have to put in the work every single day. Anybody who achieves anything of merit in life is going to work on that skill every single day. We can look at famous directors. We can look at Olympic sports people. These people are prepared to get up at the crack of dawn, if need be, and work at that skill. If you want to achieve success in your English, you're going to have to practice every single day. It's not something you can just do once a week, right? If you only go to the gym once a week, you're not going to come out looking like an Olympic powerlifter. This doesn't mean that you have to start off studying 3 or 4 hours of English every single day. This is something that a lot of people do, and later on they're more likely to give up because they become frustrated or fed up because it's a big jump. You shouldn't go from not studying English to suddenly studying English 5 hours a day. It's too much. Start with 5, 10 or 15 minutes a day, because in your mind you know that you're trying to build this new habit into your life, and it's going to benefit you more in the long term because it's going to make it easier for you to get started. If every time that you sit down thinking, I'm going to study English today, you know that you've got 5 hours of study ahead of you, it makes it that bit more intimidating. Connected with this idea of starting small, if every time you speak English or you practice English you have to do everything perfectly, you're never going to make the mistakes that you need to make in order to get better. Perfect is the enemy of good enough. Inspiration will find you working. You have to start and get involved in the process and swim in the thing that you're trying to do, because you will pick up things that you maybe hadn't even considered while you're in the process of doing it. Up the stakes. You've got to make the consequences more clear for yourself. If you learn to speak English fluently and confidently, what improvements is it going to make in your day-to-day life? If you pass this test, you can move around the world. You're going to be able to make more friends. You're going to be able to communicate with more people. When you feel passionate about doing something, you're much more likely to make the effort to form that habit and include it in your daily routine. Personally, I always take the approach that doing anything that will take you towards your goal is better than doing nothing. Even if you only study one word, that one word is still better than doing absolutely nothing. So I would hold that in mind when you're thinking, shall I study today or not? Question of the day: do you find it easy to form new habits? What tips would you give to our other viewers that would help them to form new habits? Put them in the comments below this video. My name's Rob, and this is the My English Teacher Rob channel, where we're about helping you to speak English fluently and confidently. So if you found this video useful, here's another one up here. If you want to find out the next time I upload a video, hit the subscribe button below and turn on the bells so to make sure that you receive the notification, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.